All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lamar Gafford,
I'm Robert Brown.
Clarence Sellers.
and we welcome you to the Gafford and Brown Show. Uh, huge episode this week. Lot of champions being crowned, USA winning in soccer, and just a lot of stuff in the sports world today. I guess we just go ahead and start things off with the NBA Finals.
Right. Championship Spurs. As they win a title, it's been a while, but at the same time, it's familiar territory. We've seen this movie before. You got a few different supporting characters, but the main cast is still intact. And basically, you know, whenever a champion is crowned, the first thing we talk about is potential and repeating.
Mm-hmm.
How good, do you think the Spurs team is at another finals appearance and winning back-to-back titles?
And I think that it's possible that they could probably do it because right now I see everybody coming back. I mean, I wrestle with the fact that maybe this is their last hurrah, maybe this isn't. But then again, Tim Duncan, he's 38 years old. He's not playing like he's 38. He has that one more year in his contract. Ginobili, he's getting up there in age, but I still think that they can all make that one last run. You got that big three. They're doing pretty well. But you also have a budding star in Kawhi Leonard, who won the MVP and really took over after this game, and who has a pretty bright future in this league if he continues to stay on this path. So right now, I think they could probably repeat if everything. I mean, they're still going to be a contender in the West, and they're still going to be a contender for the championship.
How you feel, Clarence?
Well, I think, let's see, they have Forrest Diallo and, what's it, was it Patty Mills that are on for free agents this year? I mean, what's the one thing, I guess, in this situation, the one thing that this Spurs team never done with the Pop and Duncan legacy and Ginobili and the Parker legacy, what is the one thing that they've never done?
Repeat.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. And that's why you would think that this year would be the year. Okay, this is our last hurrah. We've never repeated. Let's go out there and if I win again, this is 6 championships. Now all of a sudden, we're in a nice view. And then you have that repeat out there. Now I remember now one of the things that we killed San Antonio all those years, especially the Laker fans.
Oh yeah.
Loved it.
The Lakers.
Was the fact that they never repeated.
Yeah.
They won every other year. They never repeated. So now I think, if you win another one now, then you tie with the Lakers with winning the most in this decade. Obviously, the Lakers have 5, Spurs have 4. Remember, they won their one in '99, so that's kind of 4. Then you obviously tie with that, and you kind of have that thing going. And obviously, you remember that in the NBA, obviously, I don't know how the NBA never closed that rivalry, but the Spurs and Lakers has the big thing going on between those two guys. Obviously, with championships.
0.4 seconds.
They have a lot of championships between those two, and they battle each other because usually the winner of those two battle usually go on and win a championship.
Right.
But, I think that will probably be your motivation going into this year. Is that okay? It's our last season. We have repeated as champions. Let's have a little spark to us. I mean, because one thing that you saw from this Spurs team, I think this Spurs team is a team that you never saw anything.
A little swagger zone.
They talked a little bit.
Yeah.
They talked a little bit this series. Did you notice that?
You're right about that.
Tim Duncan was talking a little more in this series than he has ever before in his career.
I think it was that bittersweet feeling from last year because they know. I think deep down inside, they feel like right now they probably should be back-to-back champions.
Back-to-back champions, and now you're working on a repeat.
Right. Because they let that game 6 is what they let them get away. They let them off the hook, and I think they came into this series knowing that they had Miami's number because, like me and Lamar talked about, and this is not to take anything from the Spurs winning or what they did in Miami, but I picked Miami to win, but like just thinking about it, I was like, man, why did I do that? When I look at Miami's bench, and you just think about, you know, I just feel like I made the dumbest pick ever, and it's just really telling to how the Spurs how they draft and scout these guys because we keep talking about this last hurrah thing, but we need to realize Tony Parker ain't that old. Tony Parker's
Right.
what 31?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not that old. Duncan is in a position to where he can play his game, and he can put up a double double. He can give you 10, 15, or he can have a monster game. Where he puts up 30, and it's not going to necessarily determine if they win or lose. And Ginobili, he's going to do what he does best. That's contribute, off the bench. He can get hot.
Mhm.
He can have a solid game. He has to contribute, but it doesn't have to be monumental because now you got guys like Kawhi Leonard, you got Patty Mills, you got Boris Diaw, who's cemented himself as one of the best passing big men of all time. Many people were sleeping on him in Phoenix, but now we know for a fact.
Well, I don't know about Phoenix. I think more of Atlanta. Because I think when he went to Phoenix, people realized. I mean, I always thought Boris Diaw was there. I thought he was. Okay, you're right. Okay, you're right. We just sleep on him.
Yeah, because we still know a little bit. Because that season when Amari was out, Amari missed the season I think when he had that torn retina, and Diaw and Barbosa stepped up and they was like, yo, we got this. And Diaw had a monster year.
The year was Stoudemire when I think that's the year.
Yeah.
That's from some of the year Stoudemire was
Yeah, that's the year when Diaw got some major minutes, and he got to eat. And you look at Patty Mills, and the Spurs have such a great Danny Green. Yeah, we slept on Danny Green a little bit this year too. He didn't have that breakout game, those breakout games he did like last year, but he contributed big time.
Well, let's think about it. Game one probably was that. Remember him breaking out, him snapping in game one, the end of game one.
Yeah, he snapped. In game three, that defense he had and with those steals, him and the game he had with him and Kawhi, yeah, they
and then game three, yeah, remember game one and game three.
Oh man, I'm talking about he was snatching everything. So it's amazing how they rotate these guys and they're able to Matt Bonner was a huge part of the Spurs system, and now he didn't really do much this series. Matt Bonner was chilling. You look at last year, you had a guy like Gary Neal hitting all the threes. Now you got Patty Mills doing it. It's like they just replace these guys like clockwork.
Right.
And it's just crazy the system they have, and it's something to really marvel at in this day and age. I never got why. I used to understand why people call the Spurs boring. I used to call it too because that finals with New Jersey was boring as hell. I don't care what you say. The last decade, that finals with New Jersey.
Well, I think the thing with the Spurs back then was, remember, they just all they did was just D.
Yeah.
Anything under 90 points,
that
they
was it.
They were gonna beat your butt.
Yeah, and the most
95% of the time they're just gonna kick your butt.
and the
when
most
they were down under 90.
and the most exciting part would be
you might have won,
Parker
you could win
teardrop
that
or
game.
something. Yeah. So you look at them now.
If they score over 90, they're gonna kill you.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. And they fun to watch. They fun as hell to watch now.
Oh yeah.
Especially with Kawhi. The guy's a freak. So we all think, because I think they can repeat as well. We all think the Spurs have a great chance of repeating. Now, looking at the other side of things, the other team in this finals, we look at Miami. What do you give Miami's chances of returning to the finals?
I mean, again, you gotta see what they're gonna go with their team. I mean, remember, one team is pretty much they're coming back. We know they're coming back as constituted.
Yeah.
Right.
The other team, we don't know. And then I think if you look at the Eastern Conference from up top to bottom, I think you gotta look at Washington and Charlotte are, believe it or not, the only two teams that are going to be intact. I think the Bulls are still there. But obviously, right now the Bulls, they're missing that one person. Indiana, they're still intact. But Jesus Christ, are they intact mentally at this
Right.
point? But I mean, Miami, it depends on what team they put together. Because I mean, at this point right now, they're going to have to put together another team. So at this point right now, you can say that this is going to be almost a different Miami team. So now it depends on what they put together. But I mean, obviously you have LeBron, you have Wade, and you have Bosh. If those three are coming back, you obviously with those three, you're going to obviously what was it, 4 straight finals? So
Yeah.
They're obviously going to get back there, but eventually, you have to think a team in the Eastern Conference will, pretty much come. There's going to be a team that's going to be I think you have to look at the challengers for each team. Let me answer it like this. You look at the challengers for each team. I think, OKC right now it looks like Prestige.
They have a question mark.
Yeah. Are probably having it. As I was laughing with Lamar earlier about Jurgen Klinsmann having to eat crow about leaving out Donovan on the team, and he damn near had to eat that crow. But I think Prestige and them are gonna have to eat crow here on the simple fact that now was letting Harden walk out the door. Did that hurt you? Because at this point right now, you have not made it back to the finals since Harden walked out that door. Now I'll admit it, Harden didn't show up in the finals either.
Yeah,
but you haven't made it. You didn't make it back since. So.
I think the Harden deal. The Harden trade. When you look at it now, I think it was a fair. I also think it was a good deal because you look at how important Ibaka was in that Spurs series. Think about if Ibaka played Game 1, just how monumental that would have been, and we could have been looking at a whole different series. You could have been looking at OKC Miami Finals. Just thinking about how big he played returning to that series. Then you think about the year, the first season OKC played without Harden, they had the Westbrook injury. So there was some.
I was getting ready to say
So those
insert James Harden in that situation when Westbrook went out.
Maybe.
I think they might have.
But
they could have beat again. Memphis was a tough matchup.
Memphis was a tough matchup, and then you gotta look at the fact that Harden don't play defense. Because
he don't, but right now Mike Conley Jr.
Yeah.
He give him 30.
Because the main thing I say about about Harden is if he's as good as advertised or he's as good as we thought he would be, I honestly think he should have rose to the occasion and they should have beaten Portland.
I'll interject this with the Harden thing. I'll interject this on that one. Okay, look, Portland. I think Portland is a team that that they shouldn't have been there. They're a year away. I think they're a year away too.
Yeah.
I think the thing with this is the fact that you're not playing with Dwight Howard. So I think that because you got the Howard now, you have to buy him another year. Now next year for Houston will be the year. Now if they can't do anything next year, I think at this point you might start looking around and saying, well, obviously if Dwight don't get in trouble for the other stuff that he we'll get on that in a little bit. You have to look at that team next year. But
right.
as far as that Portland series here now, that Portland series exposed a lot of things Houston doesn't have right now. That's my goodness. Harden's not your best defender at all. You're right. Because I know there was a lot of those plays where he just Aldridge and everybody. Defensively that whole series, that showed the ineptness of what they have in Houston.
Right.
And,
Now another team when we mentioned the Spurs competition is the Clippers. Do you see them being a threat? We see them. This is it's going to be Chris Paul's 4th season in LA, and he's only gotten to the second round. And when we say second round, would be like the skin of his teeth. Like the first round, he's been eliminated from the first round once. 7-game series to get out of it. 7-game series in the second round. It's like, she should stay in New Orleans. I mean, if you think about it.
The bad thing that they should. I like that team. Him, David West, Chandler, Stojakovic, and
the Crescent City Connection.
Young Marco Bellinelli.
Yeah.
Young Marco Bellinelli. They had a good squad there. I don't know why they fucked that up. Why would he leave on that? But I just, the Clippers, obviously, they were fine until West Coast. Like I said before, West Coast Don decided to run his mouth. And I said, you ruined the one. I said, boy, it's going to show how much you care about this franchise. I said, the one damn opportunity you had to win a championship, to at least get to a finals and make your, well, you know what? Shit, for $2 billion, yeah, he made it worth the while. Well, if they sell the team now. But obviously, for what happened, you know, you kind of have to add that in there too, and that, you know, the damn owner goes and runs his mouth now. It's like, oh,
Right.
man. Now I gotta deal with this, but still, I still don't think it was gonna beat OKC anyway. I still didn't think that they would beat them anyway. Not with Westbrook being out there. I didn't think that. But obviously, yeah, you're right about that. I mean, it's more okay. You went out there, you signed this long-term deal, but hell, you're right. You could have just stayed in New Orleans. Now, I think if your boy would have bought the team 1 year earlier, he would have stayed. But you know, Benson bought the team a year earlier, he probably would have stayed. But you know,
Probably so.
I think that was one reason why he left, was the fact that he didn't have ownership there, and he didn't want to be in an unstable situation.
Right.
That's just the way the ball bounces.
And that's very realistic too. I think that's a good point you mentioned about, you know, him not knowing who his boss is really. You know, you kind of got the league dictating what you do. So yeah, that's a good reason why he could have left. But they're another team that with a question mark. So basically, for me, the Spurs have honestly, if everybody stays healthy, there's no reason why they shouldn't end up in another finals.
Because you got to look at the bottom half of all the teams that were in the West that made it to the playoffs. I mean, Golden State, I don't know. Don't think they. I mean, I think they'll take a step back without Mark Jackson. Memphis, I think right now they're kind of a middle team in the West. Still, I mean, depending on how Dave Yerger does, if he does, how he does. And I think Dallas could be the question mark, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of them, but you know what could happen with, you know, during the free agency. I mean, anything could happen, but I don't think that they're.
Let me just question real quick. Just a quick question. Of the 8 teams in the West, if you were to take 2 teams and say that you're not going to make the playoffs next year, who are the 2 that you're taking out?
Golden State, and I'm gonna say Memphis.
I'm thinking the same thing, Golden State and Memphis.
Because next year, I think it's tricky because I think New Orleans takes that leap next year. I think New Orleans takes that leap and potentially replaces one of those 2. And I also think that if Minnesota can somehow talk Kevin Love into, you know, if they can talk Kevin Love into buying into, you know, what they have there, and if they can get something going there, you know, maybe if they start off hot during the year, he might take it seriously, you know, depending on how the streak goes, and then win some games and make a playoff run. Who knows? Maybe Phoenix can come back and play, you know, Denver. You know, so I think those 2 teams, Golden State and Memphis, are 2 teams I would take out.
Well, okay, let's. I actually agree. I think New Orleans does make their. I think they do. They should make their move. They should.
Yeah, they should make their move.
Phoenix is still out there, so I think Phoenix is still out there. But again, I guess the question is, can Phoenix? Obviously, 45 wins to me again get you back, but can they do that again?
Yeah.
They have to ask that question. As for Minnesota, now me and Lamar were talking about this earlier before you got here, Rob. But I said that there's no way at this point right now Kevin Love plays on that team next year. At this point, I think you cannot start the season with Kevin Love.
So you think he's going before the season starts?
He has to leave. At this point, this is the 3rd year in which he or his people, whoever the hell they are, have hinted he wants out. Go back to 2012 when he wrote the letter, when he wrote the thing, when Yahoo Sports interview, when that came out. Last year, I think, you know, it was more of the, okay, can we convince you to stay? You know, fine, we'll fire David Kahn, bring Flip in. That worked out he stayed, didn't really say anything. This time, I think, it comes out that he's going to opt out now. And then I think he was on Sports Nation the other day, and just how he was talking on there, it really looked like he was ready to go. And I think at this point right now with the fans, you can't bring him back as a pretty much a lame duck.
Right.
A guy we know he's leaving, but we just want to get to the playoffs. I think at this point right now, you cut your ties now, and you take another chance for a year or two. And again, if you get a good trade and things work out, maybe you turn out like Phoenix. Maybe
Yeah.
the Bulls turn out like Phoenix. You can win 40, 45 games, surprise people. Hey, you get in there. But I think at this point, you take your chances. Come back in 2 years. Again, now this is all contingent on can Rubio
Step up.
improve.
Yeah.
And I think at this point right now, Flip Saunders. One thing with Flip Saunders is offenses that he's always run. They're point guard friendly offenses. So, if he can shoot the ball, he should do well. Obviously, if he does well in them, at this point, in 2 years, because Rubio becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2 years. If he does well, you obviously sign him, keep him, build a team around him, get him some people, and you go from there. If it doesn't go well, as I was telling Lamar earlier, there's 3 things Minnesota's going to do this. And I think right now, Kevin Love gets traded on draft day or the day, maybe before draft day. But it's a draft day trade that he gets out of here. I would almost be shocked if Kevin Love is still on the team after next Thursday. I would be shocked. I would really, truly be shocked. And obviously, for him to be on the team beyond that, it means that Flip is going to gamble on himself, and that I think as a Minnesota fan, might want to hold on to their like that. But the only things that I would say is if we're looking for draft picks particularly and expiring contracts, then that hits me to say that we're rebuilding. If we're looking for players and straight up talent, and maybe a draft pick here and there, but mostly talent, then that shows me that Flip thinks he can get talent here and possibly try to just go for a run at making the playoffs. Maybe maybe you win 35 to 30 some games, you fail, and you can build for next year. Or maybe you can get some players here, get a nice start, do another trade at the All-Star game, at the All-Star break, and then hopefully mold together a team like that. That's the only other 2 things I can think of at this point. Because right now, I don't see how you can start Kevin Love going into the season next year. I don't see how you can do that.
Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen there. So
Right. Now, looking back at the Miami side of things, just what can they do? Like when you look at them and you see all the people you see all the player options, you see all the players that potentially, are unrestricted.
I gotta look at the free agent list.
Yeah.
I gotta see. Because right now the only other way they'll ever trade is, and you said it on the point, Rob, they're gonna have to trade one of the big 3. I don't know if they would do that, but
because it's going to be pretty interesting to see what they got. Because they're going to have to get maybe younger, but the problem is...
They're going to have to get younger and everything, but you got potentially 3 teams waiting for this day, but Miami slipped up in the finals. They're waiting now.
Waiting.
They're in the line waiting.
Yeah.
To take them out and overthrow them. I think this year.
Yeah.
I'll keep talking. I'm going.
Oh no. I was saying, you look at Chicago. You mentioned Chicago earlier. We know Chicago is one of those teams that's been waiting. That they feel as if they let Miami off the hook the first time around. They feel like they went, like you said, they were inexperienced, and they felt like that next year was supposed to be their year. Then the Derrick Rose injury happened. Then you had that series where they played where I think they stole a game or 2.
Yeah.
Just on pure guts. With
That,
Nate.
well, that was the tough. That was the 5 game. That was the tough 5 game series where they ran out of bullets. They ran out of bullets.
That's all they had. They ran out of ammo. And Chicago is one of those teams, along with Indiana, that, like you said, they've been waiting for this. And if like I said earlier, if there's any chance Indiana wants to win a title and wants to go to the finals, it has to be next year. Because I don't know what Pat Riley has up his sleeve, but I really don't think he could just throw together a team full of good enough role players to get Miami back to a finals. I don't think he could do it this time. I don't know.
Let's read their free agent list. Okay, Ray Allen, Chris Anderson, Shane Battier, Michael Beasley. I'm going to read all the ones who, other than the big three, we know what their issue is. Mario Chalmers, Tony Douglas, Udonis Haslem, James Jones, Rashard Lewis, Greg Oden. Ray's going to retire.
Right, probably so.
Bird has a player option, so most likely okay. So Bird's going to be back next year. I don't think unless he retires, obviously. Chain's out. He's done. Beasley.
Nah.
I don't think he probably won't come back.
Yeah.
Chalmers, I think he's out the door.
I think Chalmers going too.
Yeah, I think he's out the door. I don't know if they will go with Norris Cole as starting point guard next year. Probably not, but Chalmers is pretty good. Tony Douglas, I don't remember who the hell he is. UD has a player option.
That's tricky too, because
he didn't even. I don't know.
He got garbage minutes in the finals. I forgot Haslam was on the team.
I mean, well, he's playing for his hometown team, so obviously.
Yeah, he's staying.
Yeah, he'll stay. He'll be probably pulling a Javon Howard
let's just say he comes back too. So him and Birdman are back. James Jones.
Nah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Rashard Lewis. Probably so. I think maybe.
Yeah.
You look at maybe signing him back. I don't know. Greg Oden. My purpose is what the hell was the purpose of signing him? You don't play him in the fucking play. I don't understand. You ain't play him in the playoffs. I don't understand that. Most likely he's not coming back. So right now, that whole free agency list, I got 2 players that will come back, and obviously they're coming back because they have player options in their deal. So I don't know. Who else do you scrap up and get to come play for you? I think at this point right now, got, I don't know who the hell you got next year. You got a lot of people here. Maybe you can talk Tabo. Maybe you can talk Tabo Cephaloshin to come to Miami. He's a free.
Wow.
Yeah, they laughed at me. Kyle Lowry is an unrestricted free agent. Maybe you can talk him into coming out there running point for you. Trevor Ariza is a free agent, but Gortat's a free agent. Now, Gortat's somebody they can talk to going out there because they need a big guy. So maybe you can talk Gortat into coming to sign with you. But I don't know if Ariza and Gortat.
Right. I mean, they got a good thing.
Well, Ariza's more expendable because I think at this point they still have Otto Porter.
Right.
Wait. So I think they could just use Otto Porter and tell Trevor Howard. Richard Jefferson, Brandon Rush, Marvin Williams,
Sean Marion.
You got some of these other free agents here. So I mean, who does Riley go after? We don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that first year where he was just, you got the 3 guys, but then you're just scrapping up a team just to say, well, hey, we got a team.
Yeah, and then when you look back at that, Dwayne Wade has declined immensely from that. He is noticeable that he probably has maybe two more good years in him before he's just, a guy probably ring hopping. I just think that somebody has. I honestly think your best bet would be somehow to get Bosch into some type of sign and trade situation and get what you can if you want to make one more push before completely rebuilding, because I just don't see them getting anything worth having in this free agency, and just slapping a team together because they're not going back to the final just off talent, just off the big three talent. Those days are done. They made it this year, due to,
the East being
just the East being that weak. They got Charlotte, who's a solid team, but Charlotte has no experience. They're just happy to be there. Second round they got a tired Brooklyn team who barely got past Toronto. They got Indiana, who they own Indiana. Like Clarence said about the Spurs being Miami's daddy. Miami, they're the father to Indiana. Indiana's the son. They have that mental advantage over them, so they got past Indiana. But they're not going back to the finals again with it. And if somehow they roll the dice, the stars align, whatever happens, they get Melo, I definitely rule out them going to the final because, it'd be fun to talk about and fun to probably watch, but they're not going to win a title with Carmelo Anthony. I don't think Carmelo Anthony's going to win a title with anybody, but even when you put him with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh, I still don't think he's going to do it.
I think Chicago might be the best chance for him because, like I said, Chicago can hide his defensive deficiencies.
Right.
And he can be allowed to hold the ball there because
that's what Rose did.
going to be a scorer. Derrick Rose probably most likely not to change his game. We all know that at this point with the injuries, he's going to have to change his game. So, is he that type of scorer and Rose will give the ball up anyway. There's one thing right there where he will give the ball up. So, the situation would be where it should be. So, I think those two have to, those two have to be the ones that, it has to be Chicago. Maybe Houston is the only two teams for Melo. Other than that, I don't see another team.
And honestly, I think I like them better in Chicago, rather than Houston because
I like them better in Chicago, but I'm just not I'm just not Carmelo Anthony fan. Honestly, I just don't. I see the hype. I see why he's an all-star. I see why he's a guy we mentioned, when we talk about, big-time players. He's a dynamic scorer, but everything else about his game and sometimes his commitment, I'm not a fan of. I think he quits sometimes. I don't think he takes his role as a leader seriously. We've seen his weight go up and down. I think the guy's just not focused. I don't think he cares more so about being the best. I think
you're about to find out right now in this free agency.
Right.
Again, I said if he stayed in New York, then he's not about winning. That he's about his money. That's who he'll ever be. Don't ever depend on him to win you everything. Just stop giving him press. If he left New York and went to a team, I always thought Chicago or a team that would champion who are just one person away from a championship. I think that changes his mind a little bit. That tells me that he is about winning. That he's about trying to win. Again, can he do so? We have to find out. But yeah, it depends. Because if he stays in New York and tries to help that situation out, you can forget about it.
Right. Now, Chicago, I think about him in Chicago, and I think that will work because one of the things we always used to talk about Chicago was they don't have enough offense. And Melo's going to give you a lot of offense. And with D Rose coming back, hopefully, he's able to still contribute. Hopefully he can play at least half a season. If he can do that, that'll be, enough to get them over that hump probably. Mm-hmm. So hopefully he's able to contribute. But yeah, him in Chicago, I could see how that could, put them in the elite, pretty much put them at number one if they get Melo. But we got to see, man. We still have that weight, see what Phil Jackson has up his sleeve. Now, Clarence, you just said if he signs with New York, you basically see him as just cashing in and, not even caring about winning. You don't think
you think if you care about money, he's gonna stay in New York. If you care about winning, he's gone.
You think it's too late to turn to turn New York around into a contender?
Look, right now, until they get rid of Mario Stoudemire's contract, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. That's it. They gave all their draft picks. I don't think they have draft picks.
No, they don't. Not this year.
2017, they gave all their draft picks. They tried to gamble, getting LeBron, and they got seriously. And the Lakers could better be careful because they might fall in the same way too, trying to get one of these guys and just burn out. And I think that's what happened. They just, they're stuck with Melo. Melo's not Melo. Not Melo. Amari actually has an opt-out clause. He could opt out, but he's not.
Nah,
He already said he's not.
He's like, I'm about to stay in this Big Apple and chill out.
Keep on getting them checks.
Get these checks coming. Yeah. So yeah, it's. I hate to see New York suck like this because, they're one of those big markets that you want to be good. They have, the most famous arena in sports, and you want to see them do well. But damn, they make the dumbest decisions. So I don't know what are they gonna do next. Let's talk about the Finals MVP for a minute because this is something I've been seeing. I've been having a lot of discussion about Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard's a great player. He's truly coming up in ranks, but I've seen him get a lot of praise that I think right now is a bit premature. Jay Williams, former Duke guard, ESPN guy, threw out the name Scottie Pippen, talking about Leonard. I've seen people say that he's potentially the face of the Spurs. Someone else, Kevin Durant, even said that Kawhi Leonard's a product of his system. What do you guys think about those comments?
Scottie Pippen, he's not. I still think that Kawhi still has a little bit of, he can still grow to his game a little bit. He still has some potential to go. Let's not crown him quite yet. You got a lot of people that have also compared him to Paul George, including Craig Sager Jr.
What?
like saying, well, who would you rather have? Would you rather have Paul George or would you rather have Kawhi Leonard? And in a way, it is close. But then again, I would rather have Paul George too. It makes it so hard about Kawhi is that he's
around 3 potential Hall of
Famers. That's the other thing.
And he's in a championship system.
So I just need to see how does he do whenever he gets that opportunity to become like the number one option of the team.
Yeah, and we've never. Let's be honest. His body of work throughout a season is pretty lackluster.
Because we've seen Paul George
carry a team
as the number one guy, and he's doing very well at it. As the guy that can play offense and play defense. Kawhi, we have not. And granted, the MVP, is a good feeling right there, right place, right time. And I really love his game so much.
He's a great player.
But it's just that right now, let's not crown him quite yet. Let's just see how everything goes through. But right now, I can't go off of anything.
Yeah, I think he's a great player. I think he has vast potential, but I think right now a lot of people are being a prisoner of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
He's no Paul George. He's no Durant. He's a great small forward. I think he's probably could say top 5 right now.
Yeah.
But to me, as far as his game goes, he's a rich man, Gerald Wallace. I like him, but I just don't. I can't give him that much praise right now because honestly, he got the MVP award for 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
2 great games, but 2 games. It's no different than Danny Green last year. Danny Green could have, if the Spurs would have won the championship, Danny Green would have potentially been your Finals MVP. And I don't think people would have been calling him, the next Reggie Miller. So, it's tricky. What's your take, Clarence?
Last year, it has been well deserved. this year, any of the three people could have won it. He could have won it. Kawhi, obviously, even Boris Diaw could have won it.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
So, it's weird that the next three is what they call them. The next three, somebody from the next three won it, not the big three. So, it's just go to show. Again, just go to show how that team is put together. I mean, Peter Holt, R.C. Buford, and Pop. That's how you win, I think, and the bad thing about it is they don't have any controversy behind them, at least none that we know about.
None.
Whereas the Patriots were like that until, obviously, Belichick had those videotapes out on you. And now, all of a sudden, they, obviously, they've gone back to the Super Bowl the last two times and have won all of a sudden. So, they have that to them. But, I guess the Spurs have always done it the right way. I think the NBA they've always had this thing where maybe David Stern kind of oppressed them because he hated the fact that they were a small market team and they were this damn successful.
Right.
So, it just go to show what they've done. I think Peter Holt said it best yesterday when he got the trophy. It doesn't start at the top. It starts with Popovich and R.C. Buford.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I just write the checks.
Right.
They tell me, hey, this is what they want. Okay, go get it. Yeah. Let me know how much it's gonna cost.
Right.
And I guess one good question to this, and I kind of had struggled with this earlier today. Like, would we consider them a dynasty? The Spurs run a dynasty, or would we also or should we just consider, it's just a product of their longevity? I mean, for being consistently good for this long.
What was it, 6 and 15 years? 5 and 15 years, 5 and 16 years. Lakers, obviously you have to look at it like this. Okay, 5 and 16 years, same 16 years, the Lakers won 5.
I think it's a good run. Yeah, I think when you say dynasty, I think it has to be a succession.
Right.
More so.
And that's what I was going to say. Maybe, if they won back-to-back.
Yeah, if they had one back-to-back.
Or they could have won last year, won this year, won next year. Now, let's say the Spurs dynasty. But I think the run is there. I think the run, obviously, the run is always going to be what it's going to be. I mean, it's five championships in 16 years. The only team to match them at this point is the Lakers. And that was their biggest, obviously, that was the Spurs' probably biggest rivalry during that time. No disrespect to the Mavs, but,
You're right.
Because I'll give you guys something that Dana Jacobson said, a former ESPN fame, and now is of CBS Sports, CBS Radio. She says the Spurs are not a dynasty to her, but yet they are an empire.
Yeah, that's accurate.
5 championships spread out of over 15 seasons. I think that's a better assessment of what the Spurs have done. I mean, again, over those 15 years, you win 50 games every single year, even in lockout seasons. And just to stay that consistently good for that long, that's just that's just mind-blowing in its own self. And maybe it's a little bit more impressive than just, quote-unquote, the dynasty thing. Because, just do it for that long.
Yeah, it's consistent. Yeah, it's definitely they're a machine of consistency, and they're definitely the role model of the league. You look at teams like Oklahoma, you look at the Pacers, even Toronto, the way they're building their team. They've all taken a page out of the Spurs, book. So, yeah, definitely have to include them as an empire, as she said, and not a dynasty. But I mean, you gotta tip your hat to them once again.
Oh, yeah.
They played a hell of a series. It was completely. I've never seen a team get manhandled. Well, a team like Miami caliber get manhandled like that. It was something crazy to watch.
Yeah.
But
as I was saying before, I hope Toronto can keep that together. That's one thing I hope that they can keep them together. You kind of want a team like that.
yeah,
You kind of thought Toronto would get blown out the door by New done, you know, and how those fans reacted. You know, you kind of.
Oh yeah. And by giving them most of their best players, well, the guy we thought were the best players, you know, they said Rudy Gay. They said, all right, Rudy Gay, bye, go. We sent you to Sacramento, have fun. And that's you know what if the Kings?
Yeah,
what if
that's
the Kings
another
took a leap next year. You know, that's another team we might be overlooking. What if they took a leap?
Well, you're right. You're definitely right there. I think with us giving them Derek Williams, which right now is biting us in the ass, boy, we love to have Derek Williams.
Right.
He'll still be on the team, but then just make Kevin Love and just spend the balloon and get rid of him. Yeah, they might be ready to go next year. I think it's again. They're missing something. I don't know. I can't put my hand on it quite, but they're missing something. But yeah, they're right there too on that transitional.
Because I so want to see Sacramento make that leap and make that jump.
Oh yeah, they have
because
great
I
fans.
want to see the fans, and I just want to see DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, even though he is a head case sometimes, guy's very talented, and you know I just want to see some very good success for him too.
Yeah, definitely a tremendous talent that you know I enjoy watching. Even though we don't see much of his game nationally, you know, you got to have a league pass to really enjoy DeMarcus Cousins. But you know,
Don't get us started on league pass.
yeah. So hopefully, you know, they are able to make that push. But you know, we talked a lot about basketball, which is rightfully, you know, warranted considering that yesterday the finals happened. But some major news happened today in the world of baseball. A guy that was really big to baseball during my childhood was Tony Gwynn, and him passing away really, I was really speechless about it because, you know, we all knew the stories about, you know, his mouth cancer, you know, the severity of it, but you kind of when you have guys like that on a pedestal, you kind of forget that, you know, they can fall to, you know, everyday, you know, things you see people normally die from. So it took me back a bit, but how did you guys react to the news of Tony Gwynn passing?
Well, I knew he had the cancer, so I kind of figured
Yeah.
that. You know, I didn't think he would die from it.
Right.
I just
I've been shocked by it. I mean, being 54, yeah, you know, it's kind of, and then hearing Jim Kelly having it too, so it's kind of like, you know, everybody's having all this cancer and stuff. But yeah, you know, his I do remember him having the cancer. So it was kind of it wasn't too shocking that shocking that he obviously died at 54. But when I heard he died, it wasn't my hope. When he died from it, all that cancer came back. So it was kind of sad.
And it just was really sad for me too because, I mean, us being in the 90s and stuff growing up, you know, where there was a lot of black players that was still relatively in the league. I mean, you looked up to him, you looked up to Griffey, you looked up to Bonds, and, you know, a few others that you also looked up to.
Kenny Lofton
as well, like you said. Albert Bell as well, kind of, sort of. But you looked up to those guys, and it's just so sad that whenever you see a guy that you practically, in a way, grew up watching and grew up, you know, seeing his games and, you know, maybe emulating his style of play and also really thought that he was a very good player. It's so sad just to see a part of your childhood just go away like that.
Right.
And, you know, unfortunately, he did have the cancer, and, you know, unfortunately, it's one of those things that will always, you know, until we have a cure for it. I mean, until we, you know, kind of have a, I guess, a cure for it or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, I mean, it says it's still gonna be there. But you know, it's just one of those things that's sad. And
Yeah. And say he never got a ring either.
Right.
I hated the Padres. Oh, I'm a Cubs fan. I never cared for them. But I remember the one year he did make it to the World Series.
I'm pissed off 'cause they beat Atlanta, and I wanted Atlanta.
Yeah, when they played the Yankees.
Yeah, I was bad that year too.
Yeah, man, he never got that ring though. It always eluded him, and he represented. And then he was to be a big guy. He was pretty good on his feet. One of the best hitters I've seen. And then he was always a great ambassador of the game. He was so classy. We don't see too much of that nowadays. He was definitely a guy that was able to go out and speak well for the league. And I could have seen the road commissioner maybe one day. Just how eloquent he was as far as speaking and carrying himself, and giving back to the game of baseball. His son right now is playing with the Phillies, I believe. So his legacy still continues with baseball. So guy was a class act, and he will be missed.
Right, he definitely will be. I guess one other good thing was that, and I think in his last year, he didn't get voted in, he didn't get selected into the All-Star game, but they invited him to still to partake in the festivities because they knew it was going to be his last year, kind of like how Ripken. And to see them both also get elected to the Hall of Fame together, two of the very good guys of Major League Baseball. Just to see that happen, that was amazing too. And like I said, back in the 90s, you had so many black players that were there, and he was definitely one of them.
Yeah, me and a friend
Kirby Puckett, your guy too.
Yeah.
I mean, Clarence.
Yeah, me and a friend talked about that earlier about not necessarily the lack of black baseball play, which is apparent, but the lack of overall interest in baseball from black people. I can count. I can make a list of black people I know personally that say baseball is boring. We was on Twitter, and it was like, well, I got nothing to watch for the rest of the summer. And I'm like, damn, it's
baseball season.
They like, man, this shit boring. And I'm like, man, I don't know when the shift happened. I don't know what was because I know growing up for us.
Well, it's always been the fact that watching it was always boring. Playing it is different.
Yeah.
That's what the divide is. Playing it is different, but watching it is kind of like, all right. It's kind of boring after a while. Come on. I mean, I want now until they get to the playoffs, and obviously they're playing for something now. Kind of like, okay, it's the whole. Okay, we're playing for something. You only have so many games where you're eliminated. Okay, let's watch it a little bit. But yeah, to me, it's always was watching. It was always watching it versus playing it. That kind of it's a divide there. I'm not sure how big. I'm not sure as far as why it is, but it's just it is.
And I've kind of said. I have fallen in that trap too of saying the same thing. Watching it on TV can be a little bit I mean, like you said, until the playoffs happen, or if it's a close game, or if it's a close game late, your interest does peek into it a little bit. Playing it is very good because I played all the way until my sophomore year in high school. And going to a game is also another good thing too, just being around the different people.
I think it's the length of the season.
Right.
I think the fact that games, they really don't matter sometimes. Like you could.
But a series is
Yeah, series. Yeah. So sometimes you're like, we lost that series. On to the next one. Sometimes it's that nonchalant attitude. I guess that might bore some people. Well, and football, every game matters. Basketball, the season's long, but towards the second half, you start caring a little more. Then you get
basketball has the same problem.
Yeah.
I think it's the action. I think there's no action. There's pitches and do a strike. There's no action. Whereas football, you can watch somebody get bloody hell hit out of it. Basketball, it depends, there's not nothing here and there, but hit or miss after a while, you might see somebody get crossed up, or there's going to be a dunk. You're going to see somebody get dunked on, and then that's going to make everybody run out the gym, and then Obviously, hockey, their physical intensity is there too. Soccer, same thing. But baseball is nothing really. There's nothing there physical. It's just baseball is more of the love of the game. It's a history type of thing. It's kind of weird to explain it, but it is, and that's what it is.
And I think the glorious thing about baseball is you don't have to be a certain size in order to play the game.
You don't have to be a certain
Anybody
size.
can play.
You don't have to be fast. You don't have to be hands-eye coordination, really.
Right. So, that's it's one of those things I wish I would love to see more black people get into it, and I would also love to see more people try to get into it.
I think it's a generational thing.
Right.
I think it'll come back around again. I mean, baseball, as much as people say, it's going up and down, it has its core fan. It does well enough to still be considered,
a major sport.
A major sport. So, I mean, they'll come back around. There'll be another influx soon.
We got the College World Series still going on right now, too.
Yeah.
So, maybe we got a new generation of fans coming right along the corner.
Yeah.
So, also looking at a little bit of some of the other stuff here, I guess draft, NBA draft in a week.
Yeah, and every day that passes, my interest drops. So I don't know. Who's projected number one now?
Right now is Embiid. Which I don't know if I'm Cleveland. I mean, maybe they need a guy like that, but then again, his health scares me a little bit too. But when not healthy, when healthy, he's shown he could be a force. So.
Right.
There's that. All I'm just interested in is just seeing where a select few players go, like Payne and Adrian Payne, and also Clinton and Early, and some other guys that aren't like the top 6 that everybody's been talking about and regurgitating on our minds. I'm just interested in seeing where they go, because I feel like they could be role players and they could play some prominent roles, and if in the right situation, they could be somebody in the league too.
I'm just ready to hear Jay Billy say upside. That's what I'm ready for. Speaking of personality, did you guys see that eye roll Sage Steele gave Bill Simmons after game 4?
Did not.
Bill Simmons has become a complete diva. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the guy is becoming a new Skip Bayless, basically. That was already the reports of, him pretty much getting rid of Wilbon and then Magic leaving. And now there's a video on YouTube about 7 minutes passed before Bill Simmons got to talk, and Sage finally got him, to his point, and he was like, "Oh, I finally get to talk now." And Sage gave him that this eye roll. Like she hit him with some serious side eye. And then he got his point. He messed up his point, and I just thought, like, I used to really love Bill Simmons, as far as a writer, and now he's getting a little, ego driven. Do you guys think that some of these writers get a little too much power nowadays as far as sports programming? Because sometimes I like it and sometimes I really don't. I haven't sat down and watched First Take in a whole hour with the whole program in years.
Nah, it's been since it was the old before it was all debate all the time that I've seen First Take really, and sometimes only time I really look at First Take is when Skip was out.
Your boy DJ Khaled on there.
Oh yeah, don't forget about that.
Oh, the streets.
The streets.
Stephen A. was like he wanted to, man, Stephen A. Hey, Stephen A. He a true professional.
I use that as an expression when I used to say some crazy on I hit him with that meme on Facebook.
Oh, he a true professional for that, because he like he was having a hard time enduring that.
Carrie was acting like she was happy about that.
Oh yeah, she was having fun. He said the streets But I don't know, man. I think some of these guys get a little too much power. I think Simmons might need to be humble.
I mean, we had during the game also. Speaking of, Mike Wilbon going off on some people saying, well, he was tired of everybody complaining about the officials and all that stuff, but he was like, shut up and watch the damn game. I'm like, damn, Wilbon out here being fed up with here, or something like that. Then you also got like, what is y'all's feelings about that post game crew that they have of Wilbon and Stephen A. Smith?
Never have two guys that never played the game talk about the game. You need one guy that's played the game and another guy with an opinion. But to have two guys that never played the game.
Well, they're getting close. They're still seeing one Sage. Obviously, they found the hostess Sage.
Yeah.
They finally got a chance to get her to come to do the host.
Yeah.
Doug Collins, I still like to hear him calling the game and
not giving an opinion. But
something about Doug Collins not being Collins. I gotta hear Doug Collins. This is not knocking Doug Collins because he actually tried to. This is not knocking him in the studio, but it's just I'm used to hearing them calling games and not being in the studio.
Right, you're right.
Jalen's perfect. Sage and Jalen are perfect.
Maybe they should have.
Hater Simmons. I don't know.
Right.
Hater Simmons. I don't know where you put him at.
Maybe they should have George Call in that role. Maybe
replacing Simmons.
Not replacing Simmons, but
replacing
Collins. Collins may be doing games, and
put
Call in the pregame festivities and stuff like that. I feel like he has a better mind.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why I wish ABC just really just give up their damn basketball. Just give it up. ESPN and ABC, just give it up.
Because you had a lot of people just looking at NBA TV, and personally, myself, I was really having a better time last night watching the Fox Sports Live.
Hell, give the finals to Turner or something.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody got cable anyway. Hell, give it to Turner. Yeah, I gave the All-Star game to him. Yeah, give the finals to him. Yeah, because it's bad, man. You know, at least with TNT.
The dates are bad. The dates are bad. It's just bad to me. I think NBC hit it. Now I know Friday nights are quote unquote not a good night to do. I disagree with that. I think it is. I think Friday nights after the game, you know, there's a gang coming out after work. You going to the bar and watching that shit. But anyway, you know, I just. And then it's just how they put their TV. It's just like they don't have enough games on ABC during the season on Sunday. Like Sunday, you remember NBC used to have the triple headers, double headers.
Mm-hmm.
Remember all day you watch it, but now I don't want to have to watch a game on ABC, one game on ESPN, turn to ABC and watch it and go back to ESPN. That's too much back and forth. No, just keep it on one station.
Right,
like, what are you
exactly.
doing?
Exactly. I hate that. I hate that so much. It's just
What are you doing? You know, that pisses me off about them.
I think it's just because they you know, ESPN, ABC, they sister networks. So
sister network, but Jesus Christ.
It's just annoying as hell.
If you're gonna put games on your national schedule this weekend, put more than one or put two. But one thing the NBA does have to do, they got to do flex.
Oh yeah. No more Laker games, because those Laker games were painful to watch. I mean, God.
The Laker games, those games are just horrible. They had the Knicks and one time the Knicks and Bulls on. That was a game where horrible. The Bulls really didn't want to play that game. They still ended up beating the hell out of them because they were just that better than them. It was like y'all couldn't really switch this game. Y'all couldn't get another game on. Like, you know. And the bad thing about it was that is the fact that Indiana and Miami, the game that they were supposed to be hyping up, ESPN only showed them one time this year.
Right, exactly.
It's crazy.
Exactly. I can't. I don't know how many times Golden State played. Most of the games were the Thunder, Knicks, Lakers, and Heat. I don't get ABC schedule making it all. I don't.
I mean, we had so many Lakers games this year that just it was painful and brutal to watch a 27-55 team get this many national TV games without Kobe Bryant and with your star playing being Swaggy P. Yeah.
Maybe he'll end up in Miami.
Well, I think they appeal to quote unquote Lakers make people watch TV. It's like the quality over quantity. Because give me a game where I want to watch it. Not the horse shit game, all because you guys think this is rivalry. And the thing about it is the generated rivalry that the NBA is forcing on people to have. I think
Oh yeah, man. Hey, they
sucking at the
just stop it. Stop forcing it, because there's only a few.
There's only a few true rivalries in the right. There's only two true rivalries that are playing. And I mean right now. I'm not talking about from a historical standpoint. I mean right now. That's what you need to focus on. What are we doing right now? Look, Detroit, LA, that. Look, Isaiah and them ain't coming through that door.
Ain't coming through that door.
Not walking on that court and playing. Let those go. Boston and LA, look, Magic, Bird, Miguel, all of them ain't coming back. They got their own team to worry about now. They're not coming back. So.
And you know what?
Rivalries like to me, Memphis and OKC.
Yeah.
Yes.
San Antonio, Dallas.
They play. I mean, Memphis and OKC play. They those are good games. I mean, yeah, they're defensive struggles, but maybe you should put a little more effort into.
Chicago, Indiana is another one.
Chicago, Indiana, maybe Chicago, Miami. Okay, now Chicago, Miami is fine. I think there is some hatred there. Obviously, Noah doesn't really, and that goes back to Chicago, Cleveland days. Noah really doesn't care much for LeBron. So I think those rivals, and then you have other things there that are happening. Chicago, Boston. Well, when they were together, fine. That was those things too. But another one that's growing up that might be Golden State and LA and the Clippers. That was a great series. That was
a good series.
I mean, other than West Coast Don fucking it up, that was a great series.
Yep, absolutely. So, maybe if they just had, like you said, of those Sunday games, maybe they could have one of those, like the triple headers like they used to do, but just have a game that's flexed into it. Now I think you would get.
Yeah, I think because remember one thing what NBC used to do, from what I remember, is they used to have regional coverages, and then what they did was with 3 games, they used to have the final game. Now, obviously, they used to have Chicago. Obviously, the Bulls.
Bulls ran NBC. You basically get the Bulls, Magic. Basically, the Eastern Conference ran NBC.
But the first 2 games they had, you used to have one game for another game, and then you had the final game, which was obviously the one highlighter game that they had right there on that. And then if you have a doubleheader, you have the same thing there. Maybe the first game you play 2 games that are, you have 2 games, right? I mean, ESPN, obviously, if you want to use ESPN for some fun, use it for them. Well, obviously, you have to compete against it, okay, maybe you want to do that. But you have one on one, and maybe at the end of the week, you decide which game you're going to come against at this point. Based off of, well, yeah, you're right. Something NBC, that's one thing that NBC did with the regional coverage. The regional coverage back then was they was kind of sort of competing against themselves. Certain areas would be able to see certain games that they couldn't see. So I guess you could do that now. But it's yeah. So, or hell, do a fan night. Do NBA TV. Do a fan weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a game coming on in 2 weeks here. Vote which game you guys want to see. We'll send cameras there, and that's the game you'll see there. And then, obviously the second game will be, a big time game.
Right. Last but not least, we cannot go on with this show without talking about the World Cup a little bit. And the U.S. had a very interesting game earlier today where USA won 2-1. We got a quick goal right off the bat. We struggled a little bit against Ghana, where they tied it up. But then, lo and behold, some unknown guy, pretty much, I think Josh something, basically took it over and got the win here with a 2-1 win. USA gets a win. That's the most important thing, and I know it's not gonna do anything for us and stuff. We're not gonna come anywhere sniffing of winning it. I don't think so. But how big is this?
It's big because a lot of people don't give them much of a chance. I mean, they're not Brazil or London or anybody like that, but it's a good look. I honestly don't think they have too much of a chance left, but it's a good look.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got us now, then you got Germany. I think we got to play against next, which I'm kind of afraid for that one. And then they got to play against Cristiano Ronaldo and Portugal. So that's going to be some interesting games there. And I think we'll lose to Germany, but of course, depending on how we do against Portugal is going to be the telltale sign here. Getting that win is big, but if we can come away with at least a draw, I feel a little bit better about our chances against Portugal.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see. What happened to Freddie Adu?
Wow, that's a good question. Because he was you remember when he was...
Yeah, he was a big deal.
Supposed to be the future of soccer and everything, and turned out that he never was. He's not even on this roster. But speaking of people that's not even on this roster, Landon Donovan too, and big injury to Josie Altidore where he gets hurt, and I bet you a lot of people wanting Landon back, and they had to give Landon his halftime interview and stuff, and Landon, as me and Clarence were saying, Landon had a little bit of a smirk on his face. So, there's always that. But, there's nothing like the World Cup just to bring everybody together and bring the whole world together with bragging rights on the fact. And, it's one of those things that you don't get... You probably get maybe every 2 years because the World Cup, of course, going on every 4 years, and then in between that, the Olympics. And even maybe the basketball, the FIBA tournaments as well, too. Which that's another thing that, I can't wait to see as well. And I can't wait to see who do we come out for that. Because I hope we bring in our younger guys for this tournament.
Yeah, I think that's the motive now. With the those teams compared to the Olympic team where it's a bit more star heavy.
Who would you guys like to see that make it in the world's tournament? By the way, because I got a few that I would love to see as well.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Because I'm thinking, I think if you got to be one, I'd like to see Anthony Davis make it. Steph Curry, I don't know if he's got a chance to make it, but I'd like to see how he does in the international stage. DeMarcus Cousins, maybe, as long as he doesn't become a hothead. I'd like to see how he does in the international stage. Paul George is one of those that I would like to see. So the possibilities are really endless. I mean, it's so hard to pretty much pick 12, but I mean, I feel like we probably can get 12 of our good young guys and be on the team, or at least have one veteran of the whole bunch, like Lamar Odom did a couple of years ago. Of the team that went out there to Turkey, I think.
You mean the one at this summer or the one?
Yeah, this summer. This summer. Right.
Somebody decided they want to do something. Most likely you're gonna have KD. I'm sure Kevin Durant. I know Kevin Durant, Rose, Kevin Love all said they were going. Westbrook most likely will go too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I can't wait to really see those as well.
Yeah, I have to check this out. But I know certain ones. I know those four. Those four are going to be your headliner. James Harden probably will go to 5. Dwight Howard is an interesting thing. Remember now, he missed the Olympics back. Does he go? Do they ask him to come now? I think that's another thing. I'm not sure what. I'm not sure what the whole. I'm not sure if they went that well. Oh yeah, Dwight. Yeah, I forgot about Dwight's other issues that are pending right now. Although they might not be too much of issues, but you know. Man, you can't do that.
Exactly.
You can't do that. What are you doing, Dwight?
A lot of other sports news before we go to. Let's see. We also have here. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Kings in winning the Stanley Cup.
Oh yeah.
That was a good game. That game 5, dude.
Yeah.
That was a good game. I think
Had me very interested.
hockey is starting to win a little bit. I think
Yeah.
if Batman cannot have another lockout.
Nah, no more lockouts.
Hockey might be okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Bettman might be okay. Well, obviously, I don't think he'll never be okay. But
I say every
Lockout,
year.
he'll be fine.
I say every year that I'm going to get more and more into hockey, and you know, it only just takes the postseason, and hopefully one of these days I can ever get into it. And
Well, me, I had obvious reasons. Obviously, we did well until Patrick Kane from the Blackhawks in the wild season. Anyway, I'm still mad at that. Anyway, I'm still mad at that, but obviously I had reasons to get in it this year too. With the Wild making the last 2 years.
some more news: Dallas Clark is going to announce his retirement on Wednesday.
Man, class act, fun tight end, especially in Indy. Peyton Manning guy. He had a good run.
Yeah, pretty good one for him too. I mean, good thing is at least he got himself a championship. So
Yeah.
you know, you can't go wrong without that. Let's see some more stuff here. Doc Rivers is now going to be the president of basketball operations with the Clippers.
That's a lot of pressure.
Pete Rose laments on the death of Tony Gwynn. He said here, I'll probably get in trouble by saying this, but the only bad thing about Tony Gwynn was that he played in San Diego, which is a wonderful city. When you have a guy like Tony Gwynn, who was such a good player, such a good hitter, such a good ambassador of the game, those are the kind of guys that you need on TV in the playoffs. You need on TV in the World Series. Everybody should be able to see him. And it goes back to saying, you know, unfortunately he didn't get that chance to get that ring, but, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. Let's see here. Marion Barber report taken to hospital for mental observation.
Damn.
Marion Barber.
Damn.
When he did that backflip in Chicago and then broke his neck, I knew something was off.
When he coughed up that ball against Denver, when doing the Tebow run,
Oh,
like
man.
something ain't right.
I miss MB3, man. I miss him because he was one of those guys for the Cowboys that I really felt like if Jason Garrett would have used him right, we could have got a chance to see a little bit more of what he is, but his style of running, unfortunately.
I can't kill him too much.
His style of running. And the good thing about those Gopher running backs was, I mean, they were very violent running backs. Lawrence Maroney too.
Yeah.
Very violent running backs that they were very good. You love the way to see them play, but unfortunately, short shelf life. And let's see anything else here more to this. I guess as we've been looking at the MLB, I mean, one surprise team so far has been the Miami Marlins. They were in the playoff race.
Yeah, they are. They're winning games. I think they're playing my Cubs right now. I'm liking the way they look. I think the Cubs have had a better run than expected. We had a game against St. Louis where we put up 17 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Swept the Mets. Got a win against Philly. I think we're on the upside. You know, Theo's playing looks like it's coming up. All the damn prospects, it's about time. So we'll see how that goes. I'm ready for the All-Star game though.
Oh yeah, me too. Other news here: Brandon Flowers contacted by 10 teams so far. Rex Ryan says it's not like Bill Belichick has all the answers.
We want him.
Everybody seems to be wanting him. Rodney Thomas found dead. Former NFL running back dies at 41. Vince Young retired also.
Thought he was retired. We just finally got the memo.
So I guess no more. Let's see here. And NFL.com puts 4 Big Ten stars on the Heisman candidates list. And then basically right now is just scraping out what we got here. Have y'all seen the meme tweets from Jimmy Kimmel Show?
No, I haven't seen him. Well, I've heard of him, but I haven't seen him.
Yeah, we'll show y'all a little bit later then. Here. And then that's pretty much it. What we got here for the rest of this. By the way, some big news here that I found out yesterday, that the Pelicans and the Mavericks are going to be playing in Bossier City for a preseason game in October.
That's fun. That's a good look.
So I really can't wait to see that one. And here's another thing that you might like here too, Rob. Urban Meyer says the 2008 Florida team was college football.
That's a loaded statement. I'm a Gators fan, but damn.
It was college football.
That's pretty loaded. Was college football. That was some fun times though. But yeah.
Great times. Indeed. So we'll when's going to be our next show, by the way?
We'll keep you posted.
Keep you guys posted about our next show. Hopefully we will try to get one maybe during the draft, maybe after the draft, maybe a little bit before the draft. We'll see what happens. We'll let you know whenever something comes about. So until that time, I'm Lamar Gafford.
I'm Robert Brown.
Lance up.
And we are going to say see you later.